He's going to start working through the side area of the haircut at the front of the section, meaning that he's going to dictate the shape and the length around the face, which is going to be the starting point of the whole haircut. Alessandro is going to be approaching this section working with the razor, starting with vertical sections, working from the top of the line slightly shorter and gradually becoming slightly longer towards the bottom of the line. Technically, this is creating a very subtle triangular shape on the vertical axes. He's now going to be working section 2 and bringing it into section number 1 where he just cut. So we are now using over direction, bringing section 2 into 1 and cutting through the guideline that we previously created. Again, this is going to start building up more length as you work into the back of the head area. So we have the shortest point at the front and longer and heavier towards the back through this side panel. Now Alessandro has completed all of the external shape through the sides and through the back area. He's now going to start elevating the length up, working with horizontal sections and starting to point cut through and internally layer and soften some of the internal weight. This is going to allow the edges to become a lot more softer without as much density running through the edges. He's pretty much working with maximum elevation, pulling everything up, seeing the external shape, and then again point cutting through, taking a little bit of length and density out through the edges. By working vertical sections from the bottom of that top section and connecting it into the length that he's created with the internal layering. This vertical section will allow him to not only connect it in through the back area, but then work a nice beautiful rounded shape through the crown and into the top until he gets his desired length that he wants to retain into that top area and the fringe. The vertical shape and length that Alessandro is choosing to cut to will give us a really beautiful fluid length from the front in towards the back, giving us something a bit rounder rather than building up any corners of weight through the corner areas of the internal shape. We're now moving into the final part of the haircut, which is going to be the fringe area. This is an extremely important part of the haircut as it frames the face and brings all of the rest of the haircut together to complete the look. The way that we're going to be doing this is by twizzling the hair in small, fine sections and then cutting through with the V of the scissor and slicing through into the length that we want to see. This will create a very disheveled external line running through the perimeter of the external shape. The way that this is created is by purely twisting the hair round nice and tight and slicing through the area of the hair that you want the length to sit at, which will create lots of different lengths and textures working through the hair, really giving it maximum movement. So if you've cut the hair from pretty much wet to dry and used the right product in at the end, you'll see that the hair actually really naturally dries in a very beautiful way, and you could let the client walk out with his hair about 10% wet as he leaves the shop if you wanted to. The client will most likely let his hair dry naturally with this type of haircut, specifically with this hair type where it naturally expands if heat goes onto it. Alessandro is now making his final adjustments with the razor, just visually taking away any density or any lengths through the external shape, which really isn't working for him right now. So it's just pretty much personalizing and nip tucking through the edges to get the final result before going on to finishing off with the styling.